Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new episode of Road to World 2024, where I will be documenting my journey, my grind, of myself competing in the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, and then eventually, well at this point, no longer making to the World Championship of 2024. That being said, let's start today's episode. Well, I know it has been a while since I really make another update. It's been over a month at this point. It's really kind of a rough month, as most of you there might also be doing. Everyone's preparing their WCQ for me, the North American WCQ, the first event after Infinite Forbidden being legal in the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. So it was a very busy month. Not only kind of getting myself mentally prepared, but also figuring out the new cards, a lot of new decks. Even during the time before Info, we had Battle of Legend essentially releasing the whole Yubel deck, and they're gonna learn that and counter that, and so on and so forth, right? So this past whole month, I've been kind of secret, like not making any posts, just keep all the research by myself. And I guess let's just summarize to it. It didn't go well at the end, but there's still quite a few I can share at this point now that WCQ has been over. So I guess let's jump to it. Just let me give everyone an update about what really happened in the past month. So, as you watching right now on the screen, this is my list from Wise's Indie, and this is pretty much my list since Wise's Indie until that format ended. Not gonna lie, Legacy of Destruction format was arguably one of my favorite format for so far the entire 2024. It really feel like dice rolls isn't mattering as much, where despite Snake Eye is a naturally powerful deck going first, there are variable ways to counter it to even win going second, and that even applied to a lot of other decks. So I definitely, now looking back to it, missed a little bit of legacy formats, and I believe the only change I really made after Wise's Indie is getting rid of the whole Harbinger in my extra deck and replace with Typhon. Since with Typhon being legal, or with Typhon being available in my extra deck, it allows me to Metatronus targeting any Yubel monster, since Typhon is a Dark Fiend, and just summon Typhon randomly, treating Metatronus as like a pseudo imperm kind of thing. And this Typhon summoner will be negated, so it doesn't really have the effect to lock myself or anything. And actually, Typhon is like a decent card in Mirror, like after exchanging a lot of hand traps. So this is like realistically the only difference, the only change I made to my legacy list, which there has been a lot of happening, but I never feel like there was enough happening worth me to make another episode talking about the very few things. So that's pretty much it for like an update on at the end, like mid-late June. And then now moving forward to July, where we kind of had a lot of things happening, right? At the beginning of July, about like a week, 10 days, maybe no more than 2 weeks before the tournament, we got some info TCG exclusives, drastically changing a lot of like combo lines for both Snake Eye and Yubel, and also same time, quote unquote, get like a bandless update with Konami saying there won't be an update until late August, which essentially means no list, right? It's confirmed. And these things happen a bit like too late, in my opinion. Like I really, hopefully, thinking we could, if possible, we could just know these a lot earlier. Oh, also including the Moonlink, right? That wasn't announced until quite late, until like a poster. So it took extra long time to even figure out what deck I will be playing. Spoiler alert, at the end, they're still choosing Snake Eye. But that took longer than I expected to even decide on the deck. The other decks are all viable. Yubel, honestly, Fingsmith just make a lot of different decks possible. There are also a lot of new supports like on different older decks from Infinite Forbidden, and I kind of, based on my interest, worked on like a Drytron list, a Rescue Ace list, a lot of different things. But quickly, I draw into a conclusion. Those are fun decks. Those are good decks. Those are not better decks. There's no way to really using those and thinking I'm able to compete with Snake Eye or Yubel. I think those two are realistically the only possible choices to even enter WCQ with. So, after almost quote-unquote wasting a week, even deciding on deck, Snake Eye or Yubel down the end became my choices. Yubel, on the other hand, was like still relatively new to me. I mean, it's new to almost everyone. Even till now, I still don't have a good hang on the Yubel, especially with the new cards. Like with both Arrow Eater and Necrocut Princess, the combo lines are even different than what I initially prepared during June. And even in addition to that, like if you have been paying attention to kind of my competitive results or usage throughout the whole year, I was not really playing during the time Unchained was prime. I think during September I kind of gave myself a break to cure the depression from last year's WCQ. And I think even when I kind of started again doing AGOF format, I was playing Rescue Ace. So Unchained was never really in my hand in any tournaments. So the Unchained cards, a lot of interaction with it, with Yama specifically, I was not familiar with it. I had no experience with it. Until last month, I still would occasionally forgetting Yama has the pop after you revive with the Gravy Effect. So, definitely was not a confident choice at the end in front of me to enter the WCQ with Yubel. So, that became the reason I dropped Yubel about a week prior to the tournament. I think, realistically, Yubel might just be the better deck throughout the event. Now looking back to it, but it's harder to pilot. It's also harder to figure out the non-engine portion to it. The non-engine portion now, since I mentioned it, is also weird in the whole format, where Snake Eyes are more vulnerable to hand traps, or at least back then. Now with the Fingsmith, it can still be vulnerable to hand traps. You just need a lot of them, like at least 15. If not 18 in the deck to be realistic. If you run like 9 to 12 hand trap, it's not like likely to hand trap like the new Snake Eye deck down. But with a good amount, with enough amount of hand traps, Snake Eye can still be vulnerable to hand traps. However, that many hand traps will usually backfire you against Yubel. Yubel is also a deck that has very good resistance against hand traps. I've drawn like 3-4 hand traps against Yubel going second and just absolutely did not stop anything. Well, I did stop everything but the last Phantom, like most likely the second Phantom, just sealed the game at the end of the combo after I stopped everything. So those kind of situations will happen. And on the flip side, Ball Breakers, Snake Eye is known to be almost immune to a lot of Ball Breakers. The only chance Ball Breaker really does things is if an Appaloosa is in this interaction and Appaloosa get taken. That's usually when the Ball Breaker. That's honestly the only Ball Breakers people choosing to either nullify Appaloosa or just kind of stealing Appaloosa, right? And every other Ball Breakers, such as like Evenly, such as sometimes even Dark Cooler, those I just feel like really mid. When a ball breaker being used and failing to kill Snake Eye opponent, the sheer amount of follow-up from Snake Eyes is just gonna pretty much saying the end of the game. So ball breakers, on the other hand, were not good against Snake Eye, but Ball breakers on like against Yubel were actually fantastic. So we were in a very weird format where there isn't even enough non-engine that just covers those two opposing matches in the top two. One is weaker to hand shoves, one is weaker to ball breakers, and they all kind of immune to the other ones. So choosing the non-engine for this entire event for the WCQ season were also extremely hard. Let's just say, figuring out that, or let's just say even till now, I still don't think I've completely figured it out. I just end with, after talking to some people, I just ended with like theoretically the ones that has higher win ratio, but on the other end, still not high enough to make me satisfied saying this is the non-engine plan. Which now, you looking at this current list, I'm like showing on the screen. This is the list I used in the playoff on the Friday for the World Points. Which, spoiler, the main deck are the same even for the main event later or during the weekend. But the side deck were just, I kind of took out some cards, some spaces, because I was fearing someone, especially for the ones that already have the Master Duel invite. They might just queue up with some random things and then who knows, right? So I was fearing like some people using Runic Stun, so I definitely prepared for specifically Runic Stun in my side deck. And there are some cool things I can do with it. Specifically talking about the Golden Lord in the extra deck. Golden Lord was a card I had mentioned during, I think March, April, during the time when Runic Stun were big, leading to License Raleigh. But at the time, the Golden Lord thing, it's just a better Cosmic to draw. And the issue is you still have to draw it. Now with Sphinx Lee going in the deck, with Beatrice being abused that much in the extra deck, Golden Lord is something quote-unquote searchable. Like, going first, I believe, with just like Finksmith and then regular Snake Eye combo, like just say Ash plus Finksmith, you know, next time opponent not gonna have any hand trap, right? These two cards alone can end me, I think, a Desiree plus Beatrice sending Golden Lure on turn 1 and Beatrice sending the Shuffler turn 2 in their turn, and some other Snake Eye things. Let's just say if I can replicate this by showing some of the combos. It's at this point something kind of standard almost. So let's just not play around anything and then use everything. Well, my next time opponent is not gonna have any hand trap, right? So pretty much the beginning of the combo is just standard, going through both the Snake Eye engine and the Finksmith engine. It required to draw a copy of Finksmith for the only reason that for the main reason that eventually I would need to fuse twice, and I would need enough live fiend or specifically Finksmiths in the graveyard to make it possible. And Snake Eyes, honestly, is probably just the best deck to have these random link bodies. Um, wait, one sec. Let me see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I need to do this. So this combo require about 5 things, 5 life things in the graveyard. That's why I have to go through the Moon of the Closed Sky randomly in the middle to kind of get there to have enough bodies. And here, when I eventually get to Sequence will be able to fuse for Desiree, and then shuffling back enough life fiends in the graveyard. And because I started with Famous with Track now is the graveyard to allow me to fuse a second time using the Desiree and Sequence on my field. And then Lacrimosa on the summon can revive the Desiree that I fused away. Which I think a lot of people may have already doing this. And then now sequencing the graveyard, get to equip Desiree. And then because I send another random life fiend from the deck to graveyard, the moon that I fused away. Now Fiendsmith in the graveyard has enough body to actually come back. And here these two can make a Beatrice. Beatrice. Oh, I don't think I put a Golden Lure in the deck. Well, I just sent something else as a replacement. Just threw an impermanent to the graveyard. And then here now there's also the Flamber and the Snake Eye Yubel to really do a lot of other things, which pretty much these two monsters just the rest of the Snake Eye combo. And then this Imperm is technically a copy of Golden Lord, as you see after a sighting. Can just send the Oak from my Spell Trap Zone and add a Golden Lord to hand. Now I have Golden Lord in circulation for the rest of the duel, as long as I have enough Spell Trap, which I will just keep all the Spell Trap in my hand and now treat them as Cosmics. And the Spell Trap in the back row are nearly free because Poplar, Flamber, all the things you can imagine. And Beatrice in my opponent's turn can just send the Shuffler, preventing both deck out situation or just recycle things or just stop Lunar Fountain, right? So this is how like a kind of small portion of the combo, where the rest is just whatever you want to make against Runic Sun. Almost doesn't matter. And I guess since I mentioned the Shuffler, I probably should talk about it a little bit as well. Shuffler, Mudora, used to be Black Gold. Dusty. It was the quote unquote standard choice, as this was probably Black Gold specifically was probably the best target to send of Beatrice, since it's also an okay card if I raw draw it. Be it Yubel plus Black Gold going second, actually have a small chance to maybe break into something. However, after testing, I found out the situation where like going second, Yubel, or even Finksmith plus Black Gold isn't happening enough. Or even when it happens, it's not like my opponent will usually have a bit too many things to the point even I stop one, the rest can still just kill me. So Black Gold kind of losing its value going second to me. That's why one of the testing buddy in the group just say, what if we play the better target? What if we play Shuffler going first? And kind of just replacing Black Gold, right? So we kind of tested out, and I liked it a lot. There were specifically a game I remembered very clearly during the WCQ, where I faced a Yubel player, I think a very specific ball breaker version of Yubel, And so I went first, game one, without knowing what kind of matchup I'm awaiting. I opened, I think, Yubel plus 4 hand trap. It was double Valor Nib Ash Blossom. So I just kind of single card Yubel pitch like a Valor, one card, ended on Appaloosa on the top, and then Flamber and an IP in the back. With going through the Beatrice in the middle, so I have Shuffler and Princess in my graveyard. Past turn. Also with like Valor, Nib, Ash in hand left. So it was like, it's definitely a good board because it was never interrupted. And my opponent drew for turn, started with Activate Nightmare Throne. I ashed it after calculating things. It's something worth ashing. But knowing Yubel deck, knowing my opponent never hand trap me, there's likely odds my opponent's on breakers. Have to respect that a little bit. I push up the IP from my spell trap zone by my Flamber. And then yes, my opponent actually has some breakers. He goes thrust, activate, grab a Talon. Knowing this Talon in my opponent's hand, I actually have a window, unlike he raw Talon. He searched Talon, so I have a window to even respond here. I didn't do anything. Well, I definitely sit there, thought about for like almost a minute what to do. But I choose to not do anything. Because I have a trick. I have a neat trick in my sleeve. My opponent goes activate Talon. I went chilling to IP, attempt to link summon with 3 monsters on my board, IP, Flamber, and Appaloosa. And then chilling 3, the Shuffler, in my graveyard. Threw back my Princess to the extra deck. And immediately after, link summon everything using the IP's effect into the same Princess. And then resolve his triple tech Talon through the Princess there. Yeah, the Princess just went through graveyard to extra to my field to their field in like a whole chain link. I did pretty much the Jose move that some of you might have saw in, I think, the quarterfinal for the playoff. However, this time with Princess in my graveyard to start it with, because I had this Shuffler to allowing me doing that. My opponent did eventually have a Tribute Summon to unlock himself from the Firelock from Princess, but because he had to use the Finksmith's Tribute Summon, he kind of a little bit shorter on monsters, and in addition now the Princess going back to my graveyard again, with me having 2 more hand traps, Veil and Nib left in hand. So yeah, he wasn't winning that game, let's just say it this way. But it was definitely a cool interaction that happened that I realized Black Gold wouldn't be able to do that. And I believe there are also other times where it's just like, oh, this is a nice 1-for-1 target because it's a monster instead of Black Gold being a trap. If I raw draw it, I'm most likely either not be able to send it to graveyard or I just set it as a regular trap. So yeah, at the end I'll say, I definitely, if there's anything unique about my list for Nats, well, I probably should the main event list. If there's anything unique or even quote saying better in my list and Nats, I think the Shuffler is specifically the one. But everything else would just no. Be completely honest, this entire list, I don't like it. I also realized I couldn't even figure out a list I like to attend the WCQ. There's just no way I can figure it out prior to the event without any datas. I was very glad that the Shuffler, I found the Shuffler as quote unquote the tech thing, replacing the Black Gold, and it was winning me some games I couldn't. And I was glad I figured out the entire perfect 15 extra deck that at the end I don't think I will change. There were a lot of other people or just even siding extra deck cards because at the end they just couldn't fit everything. Like at the very beginning I was even trying my best to fit both Axis and Raging Zelantis to my extra deck. But I eventually just kind of gave up. It's really taking way too many spaces. And I think this 15 extra that now you're seeing on the screen, the 3 Fingsmith Link, 2 Fingsmith Fusion, Anima, SPIP, Hida, Princess, Celine, Apple, Axis, Nightmare, Phoenix, Beatrice. Those 15 is, in my opinion, the perfect 15 for me. And I don't really be missing any extra deck, honestly. Funny to say, I have like I think the only thing I'm missing is just I don't like the only charmer in my deck was Hida. So in matchup against Yubel, or it's just in matchup against General, I think I want Lina sometimes, the Light Charmer, because everyone having Finksmiths. But overall, I think that's like a very small thing. Besides that, nothing really like even came up that I feel like I missed it. But everything else, like, I don't. The Snake Eye portion, the Ink Engine portion are almost fixed. There's not many things I can change. The max amount of Diabel needed. I guess the number of Fingsmiths was arguably a discussion that I went through. At the beginning, I think, drawing too many Fingsmiths might just be bad against Droll, right? Wrong. I found out having too many Fingsmiths card or having too many Lifing cards actually somehow just better against Droll. Because drawing if I draw a lot of Fingsmiths, I can just start with when I get Drolled. I send the tractor from things like Diabel, other things. Now I can just fuse from the graveyard by this tract and actually do some Fingsmith plays that normally wouldn't possible under a Droll. So I actually ended up just liking a lot of Fingsmiths in my hand sometimes. And then I think the only possible one that we can debate is the third bonfire, because there were a lot of Drolls flying around, and this is a reasonable debatable card. But the one's like, if I see it, if I get Drolled, I just get Drolled. But I feel like more often I will be not seeing enough starters if I don't max out this. So, like, the thing I don't like my list overall is because there's just nothing special about it. if you're out there seeing this list not knowing it's by me, you probably wouldn't even saying this is a my list. I can't really see myself while doing this list. Like in the past, throughout the whole year, throughout the whole series, a lot of the lists you saw, if you don't know, you will even think that's some of my lists because how unique some of the ratio it is for other things in the minor details. And that's something I just couldn't. I don't have enough data. I don't have enough experiences with any of the possible choices. To the end, we just go for the blind choice and max out everything. And then, this is the 44 card pile with 3 of everything. And, the main engine part, I think it's okay. The non-engine part was, almost a disaster. There's, I hate multiple copy of Ash in my hand. I hate, sometimes even multiple. Well, I hate just seeing Droll in general. I think playing Droll was my biggest mistake going into Nats. Because what's Droll good against? It's horrible in the mirror. Odds of my opponent just only having Fingsmiths actually draw them, let them pass, not happening. And even against Yubels, not only do Yubel opponents usually just take extra care against Droll, so Droll is not only just less effective to sometimes not effective at all, but also there's times where I just they just raw star with a Phantom before I could even draw them, or even if I draw them, their board's still big enough to the point, why am I playing Droll and Lockbird? It also gets weird after siding, because I do side Mulchummy. Having both Mulchummy and Droll in the deck after siding feels extra weird. And if I have another chance going back, playing the tournament again, Droll is the first card I cut through my entire deck. I'm not even going to side it. That's how bad I think this card is. We're kind of almost going back to February, where everyone were playing Fire King, everyone think Droll and Lockbird were good, then suddenly a lot of people stop playing Fire King and Droll just sucks. That's almost that kind of feeling. And everything else is Nib. But Nib is the best thing to pair with, but it also does nearly nothing by itself. Ash is okay, it does stuff Fingsmiths, but it's also the one, in my opinion, has almost the least amount of impact against anything else. Valor and Imperm were fantastic in Snake Eye Mirror, but nearly fake cards against Yubel. And that's what it's really because I have really less face against all these hand traps. I'm just telling myself I have to keep droplets. If I see droplets, I just treat all these hand traps as fake cards and use them as the cost for droplet. Because droplet is the strongest card in the other category of bull breakers. So that's pretty much the main deck. I don't like it. And the extra deck I mentioned, so it's fine. The side deck, Dogwood is specifically because everyone now have a random burn thing, right? I just need to kind of have an answer to it. I know other people will have Dogwood, so I kind of also need to have Dogwood. There's also just random give me a puppet flying, like going around in the entire room, so like Dogwood can just seal the deal for that matchup. So it's like, yeah. Mauchummy on the other hand, it's this card is better than I expected. And this card, in my eyes, just more copies of something that you cannot play more. Like this can, in my opinion, be like the 4th, 5th copy of Nib when I'm already at 3 Nibs. And other things like that, right? So I actually do like this card. And then Dark Cooler specifically for the Yubel matchup. Like when I'm siding for Yubel, I'll side out a lot of hand traps, specifically being like Nib and Vader. And then putting a lot of bull breakers as my preferred way against Yubel. And so is the Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm was like a very, very last minute changes. It was in my list the entire Legacy format. And for the longest time, I thought I couldn't deal with the skill drain for my opponent because there are so many other things I have to take care about. So I just took Lightning Storm out. But the very last minute, I think almost like Wednesday or Thursday, I was like, yeah, I probably still need something to deal with the skill drain. It's also like okay against Yubel because the amount of random things they have. So I ended up taking out something for the Lightning Storm on that side. And then last but not least, the skill drains and then the 4 skill drains, there can be only one because that's just all the win against Yubel. So yeah, this is how the whole list went. Now looking back to it, like few things that would change. Droll's definitely going out of that deck and never coming back again. I think there were a lot more people playing Beasteel even in the main deck. I didn't like it. I feel like the Fingsmith engine is just the side portion of it. Even I stopped those. Beasteel does nearly nothing in my eyes against the Snake Eye portion. So like yes, you can hit the IP occasionally. But because people going through Fingsmith early, most of the time you will not be able to wait until that point. So that's the part I don't like. Beasteel, but I think at this point those might be the best card next. I think I will start liking the side frames like Gamma and Delta, because thinking the concept of Mauchummy drawing into those just became a lot appealing compared to a lot of other choices. So yeah, those are probably the replacement hand traps I might be choosing compared to, well, this shitty draw lockbook card. And then other things, I don't know. This format still feel weird. It still feel really unsolved, and it still feel very luck based. Talking about luck, yeah. Let me just talk a little bit about my Nats journey, right? It was definitely a weird one. Friday at the playoff, first round I queuing to Logan Johnson. Logan Exodia to me, pretty much. Okay, I lost dice roll first of all. Alright, bad start. It was a written feature, so the footage actually is online in the blog. Most of you might have already seen it. I lost dice roll Logan start. Logan started with, I was second, and my hand was Ash Nib Droll. Not the worst thing to have. Not the best, but acceptable, right? Losing dice, we can't ask for more. Logan started with 1-for-1 pitch, original Yubel. Have to ash it, right? I thought about the possibility not ashing it. If I don't ash, he summon Lotus. Lotus isn't like a non-summon effect. He can just leave it there. Make a Phantom immediately because there's half a Phantom in the graveyard. So very likely he can make a Phantom. Then he activated Lotus. I Asher, he traded away the Phantom. I won't even be able to draw him afterwards because Spirit sets the card instead of searching it. So draw will most likely be dead or even too late. And Nib after that is like, maybe there's a small chance it resolve. But I don't think so. So my best odds were just Ash the 1-for-1, hoping that's the only starter he has, and then pass turn. Something like that. Well, how wrong was I? So Ash the 1-for-1, he goes immediately after that. Triple tie, look at my hand. Well, there's 2 Nib and 2 other cards that doesn't combo. He threw the Nib into the deck. Then make a Phantom with the OG Yubel, I think another random thing, Power Spearing hand. Then normal summon Dark Beck and immediate 1-card combo. Yeah, I had a draw left that doesn't do anything. He just, like, it just didn't do anything. So, that was game 1. Game 2, I had full combo. I think I had, at least, probably Snake Eye plus Fiend Smash and Scoldron. So, I ended on, Apple Flame, IP Desiree, those kind of boards. Logan set 3, and then in my turn, flip Rivalry. But it didn't matter, as Desiree just kind of... he Rivalry dropleted me, negating the Desiree, but I just sent the Desiree, and Desiree in the graveyard sent the Rivalry, so none of those really mattered. That was game 2. Well, now we're entering game 3. We had about 10-12 minutes left. I did put in the Dogwoods. I didn't draw any. And my opening here was 5 engines. Probably, I think, Ash, Pop, Witch, and I think, 2 out of the following 3 spells, either Bonfire, Wanted, 1-for-1, a combination of those 5 engine cards. Doesn't matter, right? He just full combo everything. He sat there and comboed for over a whole 10 minutes. Lacrima effect burned 12 time. Yeah, it really didn't matter who was playing this matchup. Drawing the similar hand, it was just losing every single time. And I couldn't do anything about it. So that was the end of the playoff. So the main event, I still had 2 rounds by. So round 3 to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 6 rounds after round 3, I came into 5 Yubels. Yubel just almost a nightmare haunting me the entire event. Out of the 7 rounds I played, the 1 round from playoff and then the first 6 in the main event, there's 6 Yubels, 0 Snake Eye. What are the odds of that happening? I drew the first round, round 3 to me, against Yubel, because I opened, I think, Ash, Nib, and 2 Engine going second. I ashed it, my opponent took it, and then he kind of started playing everything, realizing, went for a greedy play, link away the Phantom, and got leave me a chance to nip there. Actually hurt him a little bit. But then, because I had to, this was a late nib, it didn't completely stop him. So he still ended on, Phantom with things in the graveyard, even the Unchained Trap set. So my turn, I had to play through everything, and I did play through everything. I cleared nearly, I think I had to sacrifice my Flamebird to his, Soul Rage into SP to banish it, to even have a chance to come back with Sphinx Smash to clear everything. So that's pretty much what I did. I cleared everything. The only thing he has is an SP coming back, and then I even have some hand trap left in my hand with things on my board. But it wasn't enough because he's top decking Terraforming next turn. So yeah, that happened. He has Sphinx Smith in the graveyard that couldn't clear. He's top decking Terraforming into Throne. And there's an SP coming back, so even making Appaloosa was kind of pointless. I had to walk into the SP to even have a chance, and I used SP to hit the back rows first to make sure I can even play, so I couldn't even kill him. Yeah, the game state was very messy at the end, but I believe I played perfectly to even clear everything. But like my opponent just top decked the outs to us, so we grinded out for over 35 minutes to the point I ended up losing. And then, well, we have less than 10 minutes starting in game 2, mid game time. I know there's no possible way for me to win that match, so the best I can do is just burn time draw, like how it happened on Friday. So first round was a draw, not the best thing. Losing dice roll, still pushing for a draw wasn't the worst thing, right? Then the next couple rounds, I don't know why is the one draw bracket just full of Yubels by queuing to 4 of them after. There's one more in the middle, which okay, this is also like a weird matchup. I finally win dice roll, my first dice roll one. I opened very broken. My ending was like Appaloosa, Nightmare Phoenix calling to it, Flamber was IP in the back. Beatrice sitting on the board, already milled the shuffler and able to mill another follow-up next turn. With tempo things, my hand was like either Valor draw or Valor draw. And Princess and Shuffler both in the graveyard. That kind of ending board without my opponent even interrupting. Well, maybe he used one, but I just walked through it. Right? Those kind of boards like nearly won already. My opponent goes... Oh no, he didn't use anything. He just has 6 cards. My opponent goes, start his turn. Battle phase. See, at the even beginning when we sit down, when we had a conversation before the round even started, I already had a feeling he's playing Tempai. So it was like, and looking at how the sheer amount of things I have on my board everywhere, I was like, I had a feeling he's just not having evenly, he's faking it. And even hypothetically, he does have this evenly. I should keep my Flamber, half Shuffler, Priest in the graveyard, and 2/3 Hinge at left hand. Still good, right? So I just let it go. He actually had the evenly, so I did the play what I said. But main phase 2, okay, this is where the strange parts are. He goes, set 1, set 2, activate 5 Rainbow Magician, special summon Lady Lab. In the main deck, yes, in the main deck. So, yeah, for the rest of the duel, I just get locked by this random 5 Rainbow Magician and couldn't even do anything about it. So that, my first ice roll cost me the game 1. And then, that obviously took a while because I was sitting there trying to draw into a spell trap to even have a chance to play. I know if I do draw into a spell trap, I can win, but I didn't. I think at one point my hand was double Valor, double draw against a trap lab. At this point, a Floodgate Lab opponent. So I eventually scooping relatively early, relatively quick to be honest, and thinking, okay, we can play I can just auto win going first game 2, and then game 3 we grind it out. He couldn't use rollback game 3. I have burn cards in the form of Lacrimosa. Should be fine, right? Game 2, first move up before I start trying shifter, by the way. Well, now we kind of have to sit there. So we had to sit there grinding each other. Eventually time runs out and game ends game 2, and I still have life point advantage because he rolled back, because I forced the rollback almost. So, well, that's my second draw. So yeah, by round 5, by the end of round 5, I had 2 draws on me, whereas a 2-round bye. Definitely not even a good start out of all the WCQ I played. But at least there wasn't losses, right? So we like for the people who's around me, I was joking. Yeah, X3 can top Nats. Like we had X3 top at the end. Maybe my goal was just go for like an X04, X13, be like a pseudo X3, just still top, be able to top, right? That was a joke. So I was X02 until the very last and the end of day 1. As you may heard, I played a shit tons of Yubel. Out of all the Yubels, my record was 1 draw 4 win. So it's actually a good end. Again, like a good result against all different kinds of Yubel. They're both like the hand traps, both board breakers. There's one with a lot of unchains. There's one even making Griffin on me. I beat all of them. So we go into final round and we sit down. Oh, fellow Chinese name. Don't know this guy. We sit down. We had a friendly Chinese conversation with each other. I found out my opponent don't really know how to speak Chinese, but he understands a little bit. He even took out like an OCG sleeved deck. It was I think it was China City Tournament with Mo Yang on it, with his extra deck being like a Rucal sleeves from YSS Japan. Oh, where he got those? His fellow Chinese buddies got him, right? So we had a very friendly Chinese talk with each other, final round of day one. He won dice for asking how many cards in my deck. 44. He has what, 40? Okay, it's fine. Not a terrible thing. I've lost like enough dice rolls so came back in this event, right? What's the worst thing can happen? Set 4 card at demise. Let's just say at that 1 second when he activated card at demise, I start seeing him differently. And yeah, that was end of day one, and I got locked out by Runic Stun. And the worst thing to it was that I was X02 with 2 draws, no losses. That was a pair up to an X1 Runic Stun. What are the odds of that happening? And so at the end of day one, I was X1, 2, pretty much on the bubble. I can take another draw and be like the high X3s because I have less losses. As an X3, it's the same point as X3, but I have less losses. So I can take another draw in the 3 rounds of day 2, still be able to top with a chance. Or I just win out on the bubble. Right? So first round day 2, we sit down. Oh, my opponent's already there. I was like relatively closer to when the round started. We sit down, one dice, we roll dice, lost the dice again. My opponent goes, set 4 activate Runic Fountain. A second one. At least this one actually managed to win that game 1 and won that match. So, okay, there's the second Runic Stun, right? What's the worst can happen? Round 2, day 2. Asian Persuasion, the third Runic Stun. And I lost the dice roll again. Yeah, like, start my tournament, play 5 Yubel, and a random lab with 5 Rainbow in the main in the first 6 rounds, and then 3 Runic Stuns in a row, also losing all 3 dice roll. Wasn't a good tournament. Eventually I lost to Johnny. I got Runic Stun, yes. So marked the end of my journey. I played 0 Snake Eye throughout the tournament. I played 3 Runic Stuns in a row, losing all 3 dice rolls. And funny to say, I saw a lot of the eventual like top lists, winning lists, see how less copy, how like almost no back row removal in their entire deck. And realizing, yeah, if hypothetically I'm using like the Nats winning list or one of the people's list who goes to Worlds, I will still not be able to make there for the same matchup for the same dice rolls. So yeah, down the end, it's just luck. Like I don't think I've done my best, but I also don't know what's better I could be preparing for the event. And that would matter looking back to the matchups. Like, I did very fantastic against the Yubels, but Runic Stun at the beginning while I'm preparing was a matchup I told myself, it's so unlikely I face into them. Even I do, like one of them, I can take that as a loss. Since X3 can top, means I can take most 3 losses, right? So if I so unlucky queuing to a Runic Stun and I losing dice roll, I can just take it. Because if I win dice roll, the matchup is still relatively manageable. I have Shuffler in the main, going first, especially against the ones I know, like Johnny, like Asian Persuasion. I usually set up the board that they just impossible to beat. It will be a Desiree plus an Axis made with IP. This kind of board, they can deal with either or, they cannot deal with both at the same time. And Johnny was actually the one that almost had a chance to beat the board, but I kept the Valor specifically in my hand for his Typhon. That made him not be able to. And I believe all the games I went first was these kind of both of them set up. The game ended turn 3. right? So if hypothetically I win dice roll, I can still beat those opponents. So it has to be specifically queuing to runic stun and losing dice roll for multiple times, which will happen at the end. So at the end, it's just down to luck. It's sad to say my journey of Worlds 2024 ended just being unlucky instead of myself. But on the other hand, because I really already started with very low expectations for how chaotic info format is, I wasn't too mad at the end at this moment. Like coming back from the event, even recording episodes about it. So, and there's always next year, right? Maybe next year I'll be luckier. Overall, I'll say Nats itself was arguably this the worst event, one of the worst event I had this whole year, out of my control. But I still appreciate the entire grind, the entire journey with everyone, with the people who I went to regionals, YCS with especially shout out to my buddy Enoch for just driving me to all the nearby Northeast regionals as possible. Shout out to like a lot of other people who tested with on Discord in real life, so on, and also shout out to all the audience that you guys be currently watching or listening to all the YouTube episodes. I know I kind of stopped updating leading to the WCQ, but there's finally an update. And it is the end of the journey, of World to 2024. But there's always a new journey starting, right? Maybe we're starting the road to World 2025 soon. Haven't decided on that. Probably just gonna take a break first of all, for the summer. However, I still appreciate you being here supporting, and I hope I brought you good content. And I always see you in the next video. That being said, this is the end of this series for now, but I'll be back soon, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.